welcome back to Pure Evil MMA. I'm your host, as always, Evil Eddie from MyMMAnews.com, and I have a very special guest with me here today. We got Robert TQ Turnquest joining me, who actually trains and is, pretty close with Jillian Robertson, and actually helped us get in contact with her. So we're going to be reliving all of that. We're going to be talking about TQ's fight that he just had over in China. So first off, how you doing, TQ?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How you doing?
I just got home. I've been having such a relaxing weekend. Yesterday was interesting though because, UFC was over in Liverpool and it was early on in the morning. I was at like a family function. So like even people that I was surrounded by were giving me their input, and it was pretty spot on with like, especially like the judging and stuff. They're like that doesn't seem like stuff like that, and I was like that clarifies how a lot of people feel. And you guys don't even watch the sport, so. Where were you yesterday watching these fights, or seeing the highlights at least?
Well, no. So for Jillian's fight and for Jason Knight's fight, I was making sure I was watching both of those.
Yeah.
But for Jillian's fight, like I set my alarm and woke up and had to turn on Hulu, streaming Fox Sports 1, and turn that on. So like I was still in bed watching that fight. Like when the fight started, I was trying to, stay calm. I'm just like, all right, we're watching the fight, holding it like this. And a minute into the first round, I was like pacing around my bedroom, watching it. Yeah, my hands are shaking. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. And just like the longer the fight went on, the more it went from my bedroom to my bedroom in the kitchen to my bedroom in the living room. Like I was pacing the whole house watching that fight.
Like a lunatic. Yeah. Dude, I was the same. I was literally the same way. Like my mom, like I came over. I came over to my mom, and she was like, "What is wrong with you?" I was like, "You don't understand." I was like, she was just on my show the other day, telling everybody that she was gonna get a first round finish, and that as soon as she got the fight to the ground, it would be like a fish out of water. So even Molly tweeted me, and it was like, "There's a better chance of me pissing snow than that happening." So first off, let's rewind a little bit. She came in overweight. Like Jillian missed her flight. Like there was all these things stacking up against her. And this was a big one, man. And you're the one that was like, there's an upcoming fight for Jillian. You're not going to believe who it is.
Yeah, man. So I found out about the fight, I think it was like maybe a month before it was announced. And Molly had won, she won her Cage Warriors title. I watch Cage Warriors all the time. A lot of those guys are getting fed straight into the UFC, so it's good to know, who these guys are before they ever make their UFC debut. And I knew who Molly was, and she had won her title 2 months before the fight was announced, or 3 months before, something like that.
Yeah, it was real recent.
And it was the same card. Her and Patty Pimblett, they fought together and they won. But so she's fresh off her victory, Cage Warriors, all this momentum.
And in Liverpool.
Yeah, in Liverpool, Echo Arena, same place she won her Cage Warriors title. And so I found out about it, and I was like, yo, this is a perfect fight for you. Like, everything about this fight is perfect. And then the closer it got, fight week, she missed her first flight was delayed. It was delayed by like 3 hours. So that caused her to miss her second flight. So she was stuck in Pennsylvania.
I was a little worried when she told us that too. I was like, don't worry about it. I was like, come on the show. I'll get you through this. You'll smile. I was like, you should at least have your dog or something with you. Like that's a rough position.
It is. So like everything was just like starting to kind of go against her. But then like she got there, her weight was good. She was able to get in a couple workouts. She woke up the day before weigh-ins at 130 pounds, like perfect for, the cut and everything. And, it was just, I don't know, everything just like started to align for her, like just perfectly.
What did you think when Molly weighed in a little bit overweight? What were your thoughts on that? Like, did you think the fight was going to go through?
That surprised me. I knew Jillian was going to take the fight regardless. But, out of all of Molly's fights back for Cage Warriors, and I had to look it up real fast to see, just to make sure, but she's never missed weight before. So that told me that she was she maybe, underestimated Jillian and didn't take her training camp as hard. So her weight was heavier than it normally was. I mean, I was watching her, because we watch everybody. So I was watching her, all through fight week, and she was posting, I'm getting refueled by this company that was over there. She was eating to me what looked like normal sized meals, not meals that like somebody's cutting weight is eating. So I was kind of surprised because when she was eating all that, I was like, all right, well, maybe her weight's like really, really low. Like maybe she's just better than I thought. And then she weighs in and it was heavy, and I was like, oh, well, shit. And then she had an hour to come back and make weight.
And there was a lot of chaos going on at that time because we didn't know where Till was at that moment either.
Yeah, who also came in. He came in really, really heavy,
almost 4 pounds overweight.
Yeah. Like, so my thing is, if this is your weight class, like this is the normal weight class that you fight, you have no excuse to miss weight. I've missed weight before, and that was when I tried to cut down to 155 pounds.
You've also been at 205 pounds at one point in your career as well.
Right.
Like 8 years ago, matter of fact.
Yeah. And I don't know. I just think that at your weight class, there's no excuses ever to miss weight.
In the UFC especially, right?
Especially in the UFC, you're supposed to be the highest, the highest platform. You guys are all the best and most professional fighters. You have all these eyes on you from around the world, and you miss weight. And for Darren Till, especially for Darren Till, after all the trash talk and everything, like if you're going to be in a position like he's in, everything that you do better be spot on.
So getting into Jillian's fight the next day, so I tuned in. Like you said, you were pacing around. I was like a maniac. I was going back and forth in my living room, shaking. She called the first round finish. Going to the second round, I'm like, oh my God, you got to get her down again. Meatball hit her with like 2 really nice shots. And I was like, and you know what? Dan Hardy had a really good way of representing this fight. I sent you that same clip. From what you saw, was that how you expected Molly to, push forward and kind of give the advantage for a takedown
yes.
for Jillian?
If you watch any of Molly's old fights, that's how she fights. That's what she does. She pushes forward, but she does have some heavy hands. So it's kind of a dangerous fight, but at the same time, the style plays into it perfectly. Like it's dangerous because if you get caught by one of those shots, like that could lead to some problems. But when you're pushing forward with that much pressure, you're opening yourself up for all types of takedowns.
And once she got her down, her center of gravity to keep her down the amount of time that she was able, it was similar to watching like Mighty Mouse in a way, like watching her transition, work from one thing to another, like set thing. Like it was beautiful watching her on the ground, and then all of a sudden she gets the choke, and you know damn well Molly wasn't going to tap.
No.
Jillian thinks that it was a late stoppage. Would you agree?
Yeah, man, she was out for, I would say, at least 7 to 8 seconds before it was stopped. She was out, and then they kind of rolled over, and she kind of went, belly down. But she was out before then. But even after she rolled over, that was like a clear sign that she was out, and they let it keep going for another 3 or 4 seconds. So I think it was a late stoppage. But again, you're in there, you're the referee, you're trying to watch, you're trying to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. It's hard to put yourself in that referee's position. If he stops it too early, then he's got everybody saying, oh, she could have fought out of it. She wasn't out yet. And if he stops it too late, then he gets all this negative feedback about it being late. But I definitely think it was a late stoppage. She was out for sure.
And backstage, like when the refs come up to you guys, and some of you guys are like, give me the benefit of the doubt. Like I tend to bounce back if I get rocked. Or like give me that extra second. I'm the kind of fighter that needs that. And refs will sometimes listen, especially if it's your hometown and stuff like that. Do you think being her hometown kind of persuaded him to give her that extra second?
Yeah, no, that totally could have been it. Every fight that I've ever been to, the referees come back and they talk to you individually, one-on-one, and they give you their quick rules brief and all that stuff. And they always ask, hey, do you got anything for me? And every fighter that I know says, don't stop the fight. Like, just don't. So I that could have played into it. Like you said, it was her hometown. He doesn't want to stop it too early, especially in front of all of her fans and her her people. So that definitely could have played into it a lot. I mean, but either way, once someone's out, like there's no coming back from that. Like, oh, I was out, but I was still gonna fight. Like, nah, she was out. So yeah, it's kind of a tough spot for a ref, but it was definitely a late stoppage.
Molly is such a good sport too. They didn't air it, but afterwards, she addressed the crowd and was grateful for her opportunity to fight there. So it was an awesome moment, especially when we saw Jillian take the mouthpiece out and smile for us. That's my favorite. Like that's her thing. Is just being like that cute girl that younger girls can relate to. She's the one, man.
Yeah. So, in your opinion, what's next for her? Because there was a lot of hype behind Molly, and there was a lot of talk about, Molly coming in, picking up this win real quick, and then going straight into title contention.
Let's look at this weight class. Let's take a look at the rankings really quick because they're in the top 15. There are some fans that don't agree with the rankings, but as time goes on, of course, they'll all get sorted out. They'll find their way to the right positions. Molly, coming into this, I asked Jillian, and fans would agree with this. She's easily a top 10 opponent, even though it's her debut.
7-1, Cage Warriors champ. I mean, yeah, definitely easily a top 10. So that, in my opinion, that should shoot Jillian up through the ranks, like, a lot.
Let's see. Strawweight, right?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah. So the top 10 for the strawweight, or the top 15, it goes all the way down to Angela Hill, Overkill, JoJo Calderwood, Nina Ansaroff, Randa Marcos, that would be interesting. Randa, who's 8-6, been on the Ultimate Fighter as well. Alexa Grasso's coming off a loss. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
Alexa Grasso's at 11 right now. Courtney Casey at 10. Courtney Casey's a big girl. Cast iron Courtney Casey. Tatiana Sara's at 9. Surprisingly, she should be up higher than that. Felice Herrig, Michelle Watterson, Carla at 6, Tisha at 5. I'd say somewhere in the top 15. I'm actually surprised Angela Hill is down there. That could be interesting too. I'd say Randa Marcos. I think go for Randa Marcos. That would be a fun fight. Girl from Canada.
Yeah.
Let's look at Randa's. She's also a good grappler too, and she's coming off a win as well. That would be a great fight for her. I believe. Yeah, that's the top 15. What do you think? How does that sound to you?
I think it needs to be someone between 5 and 10, someone that's going to shoot her up into the contender area where it's, all right, this is my next fight after this is going to be for, a contender fight for the belt.
You got Michelle Watterson coming off a loss. That might be, you think that's too big of a step up? How do you feel about that?
No, I really don't think that's too big of a step up. I think, with a full training camp, I actually think that's a good matchup.
And that could headline too. That would be a headline.
That really could.
And I think Michelle would actually agree to that fight, matter of fact.
I think Michelle would agree to most fights. I really don't think there's a lot of fights that Michelle wouldn't agree for.
She's such a sweetheart too. She's such a staple in women's martial arts. I remember her on like Bully Beatdown when I was a freshman on MTV, man. Way back.
I don't think I caught that episode. I didn't watch too much Bully Beatdown. I've seen Miller. Yeah, I've seen a few of the episodes of it, but I haven't watched much.
So
no, go ahead.
Moving forward for her, I think either Michelle Watterson. I think that's a good direction. Either that or, like I said, maybe Alexa Grasso or Randa Marcos. Who Alexa's 11, Randa at 12. That would be a good one. I think. Let us know what you guys think on Twitter. You guys that are watching or in the comments. Let me see what you guys are saying in the comments. A matter of fact, really quick. Let's see what's going on here. MMA Hole's checking in saying word up. So yeah, let us know on Twitter too as well, guys, at Apex170 and at Evil_Echo. But yeah, man, I can't wait to see what Jillian says next. We'll see what goes on there. But man, let's talk about that main event. Darren Till were you a little surprised when he came in overweight? And then, well, first, let me say this before we even go that far. Jillian Robertson broke the record, guys. This year, in 2018, the record so far, in case you guys don't know, was 6-0 for any fighter that came in overweight to end up winning their fight. So Jillian Robertson broke that streak right there.
She was the first one to beat an opponent that came in overweight.
Yeah.
So I was reading a thread on Twitter yesterday, 2 days ago, when everybody was missing weight, when Darren missed weight and when Molly missed weight, and everybody was attributing that streak going on to those people that missed weight not putting their body through the same thing that the people that actually cut weight, and just it being that much of an advantage, especially when you miss by like 4 pounds. Like when you really get down to it, when you're at, the last 4-5 pounds of your cut, that's when it puts like the biggest toll on your body.
Yeah.
So there was this huge like conversation, and everybody was like, yeah, it's such a huge advantage when these guys aren't doing that, because sometimes it's, like for me, my last 4 pounds is going to take me about 2.5-3 hours. That's a long time when you're sitting in a sauna and you're soaking in a hot tub and you're getting wrapped up in towels and plastics and everything like that. Like that is a long time for your body to just be trying to sweat and trying to work. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
What's the answer? What's the answer? How do they fix this?
How do they fix the weight missing thing?
Yeah, like what's it like? The punishment right now, in case you guys don't know, I believe it's 20 or 30%. If it's
30%.
If it's a big fight, I believe. Yeah. So that, and then it was interesting. Wonderboy was like, for Darren Till, who came in overweight, he was like, you can't weigh in at more than 188 pounds come the morning of the fight.
Yeah.
Which is different. So, they haven't done that before.
They haven't, but I agree with that. I had a guy for my 4th pro fight. I came in at 170 pounds on the dot, and then he came in at 176, and then he came back, 4 hours later at 177, and I was like, dude, what the hell? And so I tried to do that. I was like, all right, I'm going to take 30% of your purse, and tomorrow you can't weigh more than 185. And the Florida Athletic Commission was like, well, no, we don't do that. So we can't put any type of stipulation on it. And I was like, all right, fuck it.
But
whatever.
It was you who was going to have to agree to the fight to make it happen. So, like,
right.
You should have had a little leeway with having to say, I would say.
That's what I thought. And it was there was this old guy there that he was an old boxing coach, and he was the one that gave me that idea. And I think that's actually I think that's a really, really good idea. If you're not making the weight, I think you can't be more than 10% over what that weight class is. So like at 170, you could still come in at 187 the next day. At 155, you couldn't come in any heavier than 170 the next day. I think that 10% rule is really good, and it will. I think a lot more people, if they know they can't rehydrate and carb up as much as they want to, I think they'll take their weight cut a lot more serious.
Because to me, honestly, for the advantage that it has to give up just 20 or 30% of your purse for a win that's going to put you in a good position for a title shot, sounds like a fair trade-off. I mean, Especially with the money that they're making when it's a couple, $10, $20, $30,000, that is the 10 or 20%, and you're getting the rest of it. So I just don't see the payoff being fair at all.
Yeah, especially when you win. Now because that 30% is only 30% of the show money. So, you give up 30% of your show money, then you still get your full win purse, So it's really, I think a lot of these guys, it's a calculated thing, and they're like, yeah, so what, 30%, not a big deal. And then, they still get paid.
Is the answer putting in more weight classes? Like, boxing has too many weight classes, but do you think that's a good idea? Throwing in another weight class?
When that thing first came out, and it was like a 165 was approved, and there was a 175 that was approved. I was like, man, I think that's a really, really good idea. And then the more I thought about it, and I was just like, no, I really don't. I don't like it. I think there's a lot of fighters that could benefit from more weight classes. More weight classes mean more spots on the UFC roster and the
more champions. Roster. Yeah,
means more champions and everything like that. But as it is now, the market is so saturated with promotions and putting on events. Like the UFC puts on an event every weekend, sometimes 2 in a weekend. And if you look at the numbers, they're not doing the same numbers that they were doing 3 and 4 years ago. Just because, I mean, the diehard fan is going to watch everything. The diehard fan is sitting there from the weigh-ins Friday all the way through. They're watching every event,
every YouTube channel. Yeah,
exactly. They've got their computer open and they've got their TV on, and they're doing everything they can. But the casual fan isn't interested in seeing that many fights. The casual fan wants one pay-per-view a month, not 3 pay-per-views a month. That, and even for the diehard fan, that stuff starts to add up. Those pay-per-views aren't cheap. So when you're doing 2 and 3 of those a month, like that really adds up. And I think that's what's hurting their numbers. And I think if you have more champions and more fighters, that's only going to mean more events, which I don't think would help anybody at this point. I think that would actually probably start to even hurt the sport more.
What's another thing that bugs me out too? That ties into all of this is judging and the casual fans coming over. Like I said, yesterday I was at my brother's house for a Memorial Day party, and I had a bunch of people watching the fights with me, and that they were agreeing. They're like, those judges are giving it to him because he's in the hometown. Like when they're saying that, it just, they're probably not going to watch again because they think it's rigged. You know what I mean? It's a big turnoff.
Yeah, I can agree with you 100% on that. I think the judges need to be flown in. I think the judges need to always come from somewhere outside, like a neutral territory. Like, if you're fighting in Europe and it's an American fighter and a European fighter, fly in some judges from Asia. If the event is in Asia, fly in some European judges. And don't have the same judges for the whole thing. There's enough judges that you can have 6 judges there and they can rotate. So
that's a good one. I haven't heard that before. That's a good one.
Well, that for judo, like when you look at the Olympics and at the World Championships, if the person that is on the mat is from your country or from your union, you're not allowed to be a judge or an official on that mat. So they just rotate and they bring in an impartial referee. And I think that's how it should be for MMA, but it's not. It's always going to be, those judges were, from Europe. They're from England, probably from, fucking Liverpool. Everywhere you go, that's, the judges are normally from the hometown. Mm-hmm. And it does they're looking for every excuse to give the hometown favorite the win.
Listen, what people at home don't understand, though, TQ, is that it's very persuasive when you're there, and then you see the walkouts and you feel the crowd's energy tied into all of it.
It makes a huge difference when the crowd is, cheering, like everything tilled through, every punch he threw, whether it landed or not. Woo! The crowd erupt, So that energy definitely carries on into the judging aspect. And I think it carries on in a negative way because it hurts the other fighter. It doesn't give them a fair shake. And I think you should bring in impartial judges. Or somebody else said a while ago, have the judges score the fight from like a soundproof room. Have them watch it. Yeah.
Off scene. Yes.
Have them, watch it. Give them 4 or 5 monitors so they have different angles and they can see everything that's going on.
100%.
But don't let them be in the same area as the crowd, And I think there's a lot of things that could be done, but I don't know.
But listen, even when I'm on press row covering, Bellator or something, you miss things. Sometimes you miss things, especially like you're so close, and the way that the cage is set up. Like you guys see Joe Rogan, he gets up, he's out of his seat. It's hard to see sometimes. It's hard to see transitions. Sometimes you can mistake a trip for a knockdown, like we saw yesterday in the main event. It's hard to see. It's hard to see.
Yeah, especially with the cage that big. The judges are spread out, in different corners of the cage. So when there's action going on the other side, you might only have 2 of the 3 judges that can really see what's going on. But if you put them in a separate room and, give them angles so they can get everything that's going on and capture it all, I think that would be a lot better.
You think more than 3 judges? Like Joe Rogan just brought that up.
I honestly, in my
Three
opinion,
there, three off, or something like that.
well, in my opinion, I think it should be 9 judges. It should be 3 rooms of 3 judges that are not communicating with each other. Like there should be 3 judges over here that are talking, 3 judges over here that are talking, and 3 judges over here that are talking. And then be based off of those three rules. But none of that's gonna happen. Like this is like ideal, perfect world.
It has to be fixed though. It's almost 2020. Our sport's in that position where like you're going to ESPN. That's big. You need to make this sport as real as it can be.
As
fair as it could be.
But boxing has been dealing with this stuff for even longer, and they haven't changed anything. Boxing keeps the judges, ringside. Boxing deals with the same thing. You have the walkout and the fans, and the crowd cheering when their hometown favorite is doing nothing but just throwing punches out there, and nothing has changed with boxing. Like I think it would be the UFC should be the pioneers, and they should be like, hey, this is what we're going to do to make the sport better, and to make it better for the fighters, because the fighters are putting a lot on the line.
Yeah.
That's their career. That's their livelihood.
So it's not like baseball where you get a fresh record at the end of the year, start of the new year.
Yeah. Once you start your pro career, everything counts. Mm-hmm. Everything counts. And that big win could be, that could be the next. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the right word for it, but you know what I'm getting at.
Look at Darren Till. Now he's in place for a title shot. Even though to the fans at home it looks a little bit like, all right, you missed weight. The judges were off, but yet it's a win, so it matters for him moving forward to get a better shot in a better position. He missed weight, doesn't matter. He's moving forward still.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of things that need to change, but until, and I've never been a fan of it, but until the fighters union, until that happens, I don't think any of these things are going to change.
And it's funny because when these kind of fights happen, like the Darren Till versus Wonderboy fight, I get all these people, and I'm guilty of it too. I'll go check the stats to see like how many punches were landed throughout the fight, but even that doesn't give you much of anything.
Yeah,
it really doesn't. All of those could have came in one round.
Yeah, exactly. You can have one person that just doesn't do a whole lot, for the first 2 rounds, and then someone explodes in the 3rd round. And so it skews the numbers, I think, a round by round. I also think the judges, and I saw this on Twitter and I never thought about it, but I think the judges should post their scores at the end of every round. Let the fighters know where they're at. That would influence fighters a lot. Now, I know every fighter, we go into the 3rd round, and unless you're just absolutely dominating, you go into the 3rd round and you're like, I need to win this round. Like, I have to finish this fight in this round. And that's why you get a lot of action-packed 3rd rounds. But
that's why the crowd can influence your thoughts on how the fight's going, too.
Yeah, exactly.
It all ties into that, yeah.
I think it would be a really good idea to have the judges post the scores at the end of every round. It should be the round's over. Here, turn in your slip, turn in your card, and let us know. That way the corners know. How many times have you heard a corner saying, all right, you're winning, play it smart, and in reality, on the judges' cards, they're losing. And then it comes back and everybody's like, oh, man, what happened? We thought we were winning the fight. So I think it would be good to let everybody know where you stand as the fight's progressing.
Well, just to let everyone know, like, I do that on Twitter. Like, you'll see some of the major sites like Zane Simon, my boy Zane, or the regular faces on Twitter that tweet out round after round. And I like to check that between the rounds and see where everyone's standpoint is. And like yesterday, and I was, like I said, in a room with people that don't watch the sport, all agreeing with me, thinking that Wonderboy won that fight yesterday. Were you able to kind of go back and watch that? And what did you think? Who won that fight?
I have it recorded, and I was gonna watch it later today. Like, I know I got all the spoilers from Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and like that, but I still wanted to watch the fights. Yesterday, I was just concerned about watching Jillian. And,
that was the highlight. Like, why didn't she get 50K? Like, I saw the bonuses. Let me get it for everybody that's listening because I can't do the recap without it. So let's see who got the bonuses. But, like, I don't know if I'm biased, so I want to ask you guys, like, what did you think? Who did you guys think deserved the 50K? And by the way, They didn't give anybody a fight of the night bonus.
See, and I thought, now I only watched 2 fights, but like I thought Jason Knight's fight with
Americani.
Yeah, Americani. I thought that was a good fight. You know, Jason.
So you did get to see that.
Yeah, no, those were the 2 fights that I watched yesterday.
Awesome. Let's talk about that for this recap really quick. Going in like that first round, that was the best round of the entire card. That was
that round when Jason threw that first uppercut and you just saw him his knees buckle and he dropped. I was like, the fight's over. And then I mean, he's got a strong chin, and he was able to power through it. And then, you know, they kept going, and then he caught him with another uppercut. And I was like, that's it. Like he's just not going to be able to withstand this barrage that Jason's going to come throwing at him. But then he got into his wrestling in the second round, and then, you know, stuck to it in the third. And Jason was playing his rubber guard, and Jason has a really active rubber guard.
Yeah.
But, you know, with his wrestling, he was keeping his elbows locked in tight. He wasn't
doing anything.
He wasn't trying to, he wasn't trying to inflict any damage. And that's another thing.
You're losing points there, and the judges could be confused on what they're seeing.
So I thought with the new rules, like under the new rules, I thought Jason would have won.
He said that too. He said that, yeah.
Yeah, he was inflicting more on the bottom. He was inflicting more damage. He was going for more submissions. He was just the more active fighter the entire fight. You know, now granted, I've been there before. You know, a few years ago where I would get the takedown and I'm like, I'm not moving. I'm just sitting right here. Like you're not moving me. It's up to you. You're on the bottom. You know. So I mean, I get that. You know, the guy wants to use his wrestling to win, but be active. You know, he literally just sat there. He wasn't trying to move. Wasn't trying to advance his position. He was just trying to not take damage and not get submitted. So, you know, in my head, I had Jason winning the fight going into the judge's decision. But then, you know, I wasn't surprised when the decision came out. I was just like, all right, well, you know, apparently we're gonna rate the takedowns and the wrestling a lot higher than the submission attempts. You know, because there were a lot of good submission attempts.
I gave that first round to Jason Knight, like you said. That was an electrifying round. You know, I was at my brother's house, who, you know, my audience know my little brother is gay, and I had his fiance watching it with us. And when Americani was on top, he was like, kiss him. And then Americani starts sticking his tongue out and like taunting him from the bottom. I was cracking up about that, but then he gets cracked because I was like, watch, he's taunting him, and that is usually a sign that he's going to lower his guard and he's going to keep his chin out and he's going to get cracked. And look what happens. I gave Jason Knight the first round. I gave the second and third to Americani, a matter of fact. But a lot of people were on the fence. And like you said, with the new rules, there's a lot of people that forget that. That's the other thing. It's so confusing knowing what rules are in place.
Yeah.
From fight to fight.
Yeah, that part.
It's so confusing.
Everything needs to be just unified across the board. They say we're going to use the unified rules, but like everywhere you go, it's going to vary a little bit, you know. But I think everything needs to be the same across the board. It is confusing, and that's why they have these, you know, 20-minute rules briefs before every fight, and the fighters are like, "Come on, man, just let me fight. Let me just go out there and do what I do." But yeah, I don't know. In my head, I was using the new rules, and I gave that fight to Jason. I gave him the first round and the third round, and I had the second round at a 10-10 round.
It was so close. It was really, really close.
The
entire fight.
Like really close.
It was hard. And you know what? Like, it's so sad because I root so much for Jason Knight. Americani is such a tough opponent. And if you look at the last couple of guys that Jason fought, like Ricardo, like why are you getting matched up with Ricardo that soon?
He jumped from like 15 or whatever it was to Ricardo, who's 3 at the time or 2 at the time. It was like, where did this matchup come from? Like you put a 15 guy and a number 2 guy. Like who is thinking, yeah, this is a good matchup. But then, so in my head, that also goes to show that the rankings really don't mean that much when you're willing to make those matchups. You know, I could see if Ricardo had an original opponent and then it was a last minute, we need somebody to fill in.
Yeah.
And Jason
Yeah,
was like,
exactly.
all right, cool. But that's not what the case was. I just think that I think that the rankings need to be taken more seriously by the UFC, not necessarily by the fans and by everybody else, because everybody else looks at the rankings and they look like we just look to see, all right, who's in these rankings.
To me, it's important. I like keeping up with that. It's exciting to me. I think it just needs to be more serious. And if you look at the people who are doing the rankings that are sending in the reports, it's some people you don't even see reporting on the sport anymore.
Yeah, and if you're not going to take it seriously, then why do we even have the rankings at all?
And shout out to my boy Kobe. I can't remember his tag, but you guys know Kobe from Kobe's Corner. He said that he actually rewatched the fight. Now, I wouldn't say, because it's hard. When you already know the result and then you have to rewatch the fight, you might be persuaded, like a case like Dominic Cruz versus TJ Dillashaw. First time I saw that, I thought TJ won, and then the second time I was like, all right, now I understand how the judges saw it for Dominic. But Kobe, he was like, I rewatched that fight and I scored it both times for Jason Knight. So it's tough, man, and it sucks when it's your pro career, and now you're on a 3-fight losing streak, I believe. So we'll have to see what's next for Jason, man. He's such a warrior. But,
and the thing is, a guy like Jason, that fight could have gone either way.
He's from where you live, right? He's from where you grew up or something?
He's from where I live now. He's about an hour and a half away from me.
Okay, yeah.
And we both fought for the same promotion, Atlas Fights. He was the Atlas Fight 145 champ. I was Atlas Fights 170 champ. Actually, my buddy made his pro debut. So, Jason Knight's gym, he's over there with Alan Belcher and James Sharp and everybody.
Good spot.
They've got a lot of killers over there.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, I was like, man, when I first got here, I was like, man, Alan Belcher's gym is right down the street. That'd be a really good place to go train. And then I started fighting, and the team that I was fighting for at the time, we were called Doghouse MMA.
Yeah.
And we were just training. I think I told you this before. We were just training in a barn. It was me and a couple guys, and we were training in a barn, just beating each other up.
Back in the Brian Levick era.
Yeah. Actually, this is about then, but this was 2011, 2012.
Okay.
And so we were training in a barn. We had one guy that turned pro, Mike Roberts, and he fought Jason for his pro debut. And Jason was 9-0 at the time, and Mike's making his pro debut, and Mike won.
Wow.
Mike beat Jason. And then that started this cascading effect, and they were like, well, we've got to get that win back. So then they sent this guy, Eric Steele, to fight my buddy Andre. Eric was, Belcher's next up-and-coming amateur. And then Andre beat him, TKO in the second round. And then I fought this guy, Daniel Sullivan. And I'll send you the pictures in the video. When you want to talk about a terrible fight, I'm going to send you this video, and you're going to laugh. And you're going to be like, oh, my God, that is the worst striking I've ever seen in my life.
What do you mean? What do you mean? From who?
From me.
When was this? 8 years ago?
This was 5 years ago.
Wait, what do you mean? Why? What was going on? What's up with that? What do you mean? You can't just throw that out there without a backstory to it.
I don't think I've ever told you this, but I never did one striking class, not a kickboxing, not a boxing, not anything.
Wow.
Until after my fourth pro fight.
Damn. Wow.
Yeah.
And you've been a pro for a while. You've been a pro for 4 years now.
About 3.5 years.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. Why is that?
So I never knew how far I was going to go with MMA or what exactly I was going to do with it. It was just something I was doing for fun. Mm-hmm. And I was hanging out with my boys, and, I was training jiu-jitsu and, training judo. And it just, someone was like, hey, a buddy of mine that I was stationed with was like, hey, do you want to fight? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I flew out to Kansas City, Missouri for my first fight. And that was an amateur fight. And, I didn't cut weight. I didn't know. So my first amateur fight, I fly out to Kansas City, Missouri to fight for Blue Corner Combat. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
Everyone's watching your slideshow of, some clips of your old fights and stuff right now in the video cast. Yeah, some of that's popping up.
Well, if you look up on YouTube, TQ versus Sullivan, that'll pop up and you'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, man, I never knew what I was doing. And, It wasn't until I was 4-0. So I did 4 pro fights in 5 months.
And you have 14 fights right now, just to let everybody know. So that's,
Yeah. 14 pro fights, 12 amateur fights. And, you know, it was after that 4th one, I was like, oh, man, this is getting kind of serious. Like, I should probably learn to, you know, punch somebody. And so then my next fight was for the Atlas Fights title, the one that Jason Knight was the champ for. And I lost that fight. And it was 5 rounds. We went the full 25 minutes. And I threw more punches in that one fight than I had every fight that I had before that.
Yeah, because just to let everybody know, like, out of your 9 wins, 7 of them have been by submission. Like, you're a submission guy.
Yeah. That's my thing. Like, I'm not a fan of getting punched in the face. Like, yeah, I know it comes with the sport, but if I can take you down and just completely dominate you and control you on the ground, that's what I'm going to do. Like,
and you've had some serious submission wins too, some very impressive ones, which is why it's like I think you would be a good guy for like Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender series.
You know, man, I was pushing to try to get on that show, and
or do you think you're too experienced for it? Because there are a lot of fighters on that show that are like they have like 4 or 5 professional fights. You know,
there's a couple guys on there that are, you know, more experienced than me. I don't think it's that I'm too experienced. I think it's that my style is not what people want to see. If I had to like relate my style to anybody's, and it's not even close, but like Ben Askren is not what people would call an exciting fighter. You know,
well, what people don't understand, it's hard to. You need guys like that to make fight, to test people like Tyron Woodley, to test people like, you know what I mean? Like, the sport doesn't exist without that.
It doesn't, but that's not what people want to see. And whether they understand it or not, people just want to see 2 guys just swinging for the fences. You know, they don't want to see Jason Knight playing rubber guard. They don't want to see Ben Askren laying on top of somebody. They want to see Shinya Aoki, you know, working his guard from the bottom. They just want to see, you know, the old school Tyron Woodley going in and knocking people out. They want to see Robbie Lawler trying to murder somebody in the cage.
But you have all first round finishes though. Like, you have a bunch of first round. Like, you don't waste time in there. It's not like, you know, you get that done in the first round. Your last 2 wins, you were just on a 2-fight win streak. Both of those were in the first round. So for you to say that you're not like a guy that people want to watch, I disagree.
I appreciate that. Seriously, I do. But I've talked to promoters, and
we know that like Dana White, like he said it a bunch of before on like Ultimate Fighters, like, we don't like seeing that. That's not what this. We know where like Dana White stands, but that's where like Ben Askren comes into all of this. Like, why isn't Ben Askren in the UFC?
Because of, you know, where Dana White stands. Like, he doesn't want to see it. And I've talked to other promoters that, you know, it's almost like Dana White sets the blueprint for everybody else. So Dana White says, we don't want to see that. So everybody else is like, yeah, we don't want to see that stuff. And so I've talked to other promoters, and they're like, well, you know, once you start working on your hands a lot more and showing me that, and I'm like, well, I am working on my hands, but I'd rather not show you that. I'd rather finish the fight and you have no idea what my hands are like. You know, if I can finish the fight without having to throw 100 punches, like, I would rather just do that. And the promoters that I've talked to have been like, yeah, you gotta get more exciting and more explosive and more flashy. And in my head, I'm like, a win is a win. Like, it's my career that's on the line, not yours. So if I go out there and I'm trying to do what you want me to do and be flashy and explosive, and I get knocked out, I'm hurting.
That's on me.
Yeah, that's on me, not you. You know, so I don't know.
I have a family to support, and you need to do what got you to the dance. You shouldn't have to feel the pressure of going out there and doing something that makes you feel uncomfortable. You should be able to go out there and just let people know like where Dana White stands, and like a comment that he said that I saw this morning. You know, we all know the upcoming fight with Overeem got moved to the prelims in place of CM Punk, who is an 0-1 MMA fighter. There are 2 0-1 MMA fighters in a pay-per-view.
Fighting another 0-1 MMA fighter.
In a pay-per-view.
But both of them are 0-1.
Mic drop for the people listening to the podcast.
Yeah, both of them are 0-1 with their pro debut coming in the UFC. How does that even happen?
It's just where Dana White stands, man. And I've played both sides, so like I understand why, but it's just like such a slap in the face to somebody like Overeem, especially who made the sport. He's on Mount Rushmore, especially on the kickboxing side of mixed martial arts transfer. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like
seriously.
what's going on?
And it was that I think I read that it was Overeem's first time not ever being on the main card. Like he's always been the main event or the co-main event. Not
Rashad
even
Evans is on the prelims too, which is a little more understandable, but at the same time, it's like, what the F is going on?
I would
I
say
don't want to see that.
understandable. Yeah, I would say it's understandable just based off records and stuff like that, but not when you got CM Punk and Mike Jackson. Is that
And replace him.
Like, come on, man. Get. I get that you don't want to give him to Mickey Gall, who I think a lot of people underestimated Mickey Gall.
I agree. Yeah,
He's done a lot better than most people expected him to do. So you don't want to give him to another super talented guy like Mickey Gall, but you can't bring in another 0-1 guy. That's a slap in the face to everybody else that has busted their ass. And I get that CM Punk is a huge star and
he's a draw.
He's a draw, but you're giving basically 2 free spots away. That's 2 spots at 2 other welterweights. There's a guy. I was just talking to his agent / manager the other day. There's a welterweight here in Florida.
From Pensacola?
No, not from Pensacola. He's from down south. He's from I think like Tampa or Orlando or something, and he's on a 10-fight win streak. 10-fight win streak, not getting looked at.
Look at Jose Shorty Torres finally getting signed to the UFC.
Dude.
On a short notice fight. Like I called it. Like the only way he's going to get in is through a short notice fight. And that's such bullshit.
I don't see why it was on a short notice fight. Like,
it's bullshit.
He should have been signed after he got that second title.
And you fight for Titan as well. You fight for the same promotion. You guys had the same manager.
Yeah. Like he should. The moment he won that second title, he should have been signed.
Agree.
Honestly, I think he should have been signed before that. But that second title was the stand because it wasn't like he beat a nobody. He beat Farrakhan.
And he had a hard time in that fight too. He had to bounce back in that fight. It was
They both broke their hands in that fight, and he broke his hand in the first round or the second round, and still fought for 3 more rounds. The guy's he's beaten UFC vets, he's beaten Bellator vets, he's beaten guys from across the game.
Pedro Nobre. That was a big step up for him. He beat Pedro Nobre. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing more he could have done at Titan.
Yeah, he handled it like a vet. When he beat Pedro Nobre, everybody, like you said, it was a big step up.
He's fighting this week, Shorty. It's this week, just to let everybody know.
Yeah, the kid is phenomenal.
How do you think he's going to do? Because it's very short notice, but at the same time, he's right there in that weight class. I'm sure he's been waiting to be like. I talked to Matt Bissett. He's like, man, I've been waiting for that call for 5. Like I've been at the edge of my couch. My girlfriend's been harassing me. Shorty's been waiting for that call. His girl's been harassing. You know what I mean? He's ready for the shot. Do you think he'll handle it well?
I think he's going to handle it perfectly. Yeah. I think he's going to come out and open up. I think anybody that watches the regional MMA and the lower level stuff, everybody knows who Shorty Torres is. Mm-hmm. The casual fan that just watches UFC and just watches the pay-per-views and everything, they're going to learn who Shorty Torres is this weekend.
He trains with TJ Dillashaw. He trained with Cub Swanson, Joseph Benavidez. Very close with Tim Elliott, who was the former Titan FC champ before coming to going on the Ultimate Fighter and then challenging Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. So is Shorty Torres the next contender for that division? Because this division needs stars. They need somebody for Mighty Mouse. Is Shorty next? Time will tell.
Well, the Mighty Mouse Elliott fight was actually a pretty good fight.
Yeah, man. First round to Elliott, man.
I haven't trained with either one of them, Tim Elliott or Torres, but from what I've heard talking to other people, Torres beats Elliott 10 times out of 10. Like when they've trained together in the past, they've trained up, at Dwayne Ludwig's place.
Yeah,
they've trained
Colorado.
Yeah, up in Colorado and all that stuff. and everybody has said that it's hands down. It's not even a question or a contest. 10 times out of 10. So, and like you just said, Elliott won that first round. Guaranteed, he won that first round with Mighty Mouse. So, what's Shorty going to do when he gets in the cage with Mighty Mouse?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up. I have a picture on my phone that shared this. So I got a picture on my phone saved from November 7th, 2016 of of Shorty being held back and Tim Elliott going at each other, and then Benavidez in the middle. Check this out. I'm going to try to get it in there for you guys. But there's Tim Elliott and Jose.
Yeah,
I'll post it on my Instagram for everybody listening to the podcast, unfortunately. But I've asked Shorty about that. And he was like, man, I think I take that fight. Like, you guys can go back to our first interview. Like him, like you, I've had him on the show a handful of times as well. So it's so awesome seeing him finally getting a shot.
Yeah, that's deserving. That was it was a late call up. It wasn't deserving. That was a late call up.
Yeah.
He deserves a full training camp and an evenly matched fight. But I still think he's going to go in and he's going to take this one.
Also, quick.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go on with what you were saying, because what I had to say was a segue.
No, I was just going to say he's going to go in and surprise people. People that don't know who he is, they're going to learn. They're going to learn this weekend, and everybody's going to know who Shorty Torres is.
I can't wait, man. That's another one where I'm going to be, and you're going to be pacing around and that's what life's all about. Listen, this is why I love this sport. Like, I grew up playing baseball, basketball, football, and you know what? Those are great sports, but I've never felt this alive just watching something. Like, it's what life's all about. At the end of the day, to feel something like that rushing through your body, and you know it better than I do. Like, there's nothing like that.
When it's somebody that that's out there, that's fighting, and the hard work's been done, the training camp's over and everything like that. So once they're in the cage, you can't do anything to help them. Like, before a fight, I will do everything I can to help any of my guys that are fighting. Like, I will bust my ass trying to help them out. But after that part, it's out of your hands. You can't do anything. You're just on the edge of your seat. Like, I wish I could get in there and help you out, but I can't. My hands are tied. So yeah, there's, like you said, there's no other feeling. That's what life's about, man. Like, there's no better feeling than that.
And then to watch somebody like Jillian and like all these things you guys worked on, like actually clicking in the fight, like, it's nirvana. It's got to be nirvana for you guys.
Well, so Jillian and I we're not training partners. She's at ATT.
Yeah, she's at ATT.
Yeah, and I'm up here in Pensacola.
So how are you guys related? Because you're the one that hooked me up with her.
Yeah, no, we're just friends. So Jillian, is my camera still on?
Yeah, your camera's still on. I see you.
Oh yeah, it disappeared on my screen. Anyways, so Jillian actually fought a friend of mine, Melanie Camden, in one of her last amateur fights down in the Bahamas.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Because you're from Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
So
this was when we were in Pensacola. We all flew to the Bahamas. She was down in I think Port St. Lucie at the time, and she flew to the Bahamas. Mike Roberts, who is a 145 that fought Jason Knight. He fought Mike Perry on that same card.
No shit. Yeah, Mike Perry, another guy from down in Florida.
Yeah.
2%, matter of fact. I have to ask you about that 2% thing before we sign off in this interview, because I saw you say something about it on Twitter, about what he's been saying with like T Wood and all that. We'll get to that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so your buddy fought Jillian Roberts.
So Mel fought Jillian, and then we talked after the fight. You've talked to her. She's super humble, super respectful. A really nice girl. And then we've just kept in contact since then. And then she was looking for a pro debut and looking for fights, and I tried to help her get fights. I put her in touch with some of the guys up here, Dean Toole with Island Fights, and
now she trains with Dean Thomas. Yeah. That's awesome.
So we've just been networking and stuff, and we just friends. And when I do go down to South Florida, we see each other. And we've trained a few times together, but yeah, when I go down there, I'm at 365, Hard Knocks 365 with Henry Hooft and all those guys.
Nice.
And he's over at ATT.
Man, like me and you were actually talking about it. Like, I'm trying to come down there, man. I would love to come down there and do like a video cast, like a 2-day weekend with you guys, and just hang out, film what you guys are doing, and then edit and put it all up like nice and professional. Like that would, like a little embedded or something. I would love to come do that, man.
It would have to be, it would have to be around one of the fights. So
you guys do a lot of hunting and stuff too. Like it looks like you guys have a lot of fun.
You know how Florida's like, we've got the Panhandle. So I'm up on the Panhandle. I'm actually 10 hours away from Miami and from Fort Lauderdale, from where all the big stuff is at. But we've got, I'm sure you've heard of it, island fights.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So we've got island fights here local in Pensacola. So if you wanted to, come and do something like that, like the ideal time would be to do it while there's an island fights going on. And that way we can get you, ringside at island fights, and you can, I don't know if you would broadcast from there just because it'd be so loud, but you could do some.
My MMA news would have me cover it for sure. Just afterwards, my recap. Yeah.
But we could get you, ringside for island fights, and we can get you over to Belcher's place, a couple hours away.
That would be sick.
Go, see Jason Knight and all those guys over there, Mike Davis and all those guys. Like, I think it would be a pretty good time. And then when we're not covering the fights, we can go shoot, we can go to the beach, we can go just do all types of stuff. We can go mudding, whatever you want to do.
I'm showing people on the video cast. I just added in a photo of you hunting with a bunch of people. How long have you been hunting for? What do you hunt for?
So I've actually been hunting since I was like 7, I think I was. My mom bought me my first rifle. She bought me a little 22 bolt action rifle. It was pretty cool. As a 7-year-old kid, I would shoot squirrels and rabbits and stuff like that. Now up here, we mainly hunt deer, boar. My buddy shot a goose a couple weeks ago. It was about 2 months ago. Yeah, we shot a goose. But mainly just deer and boar. That's like the two big things over here.
So, like we were just talking about, first off, do you bring a fanny pack when you go hunting?
No, not when I go hunting.
No?
But I fanny pack other places.
I saw you got a new fanny pack, right?
Yeah.
Where can I get it? Like, see, listen, if I'm going to get a fanny pack, I want to, like, go with what I'm wearing or something. Like, I want to look, like, fashionable or something. Like, first off, where do you start? Like, when I think of a fanny pack, I think of, all right, go to Job Lot or something. Like, you know what I mean?
Dude, like, I went on Columbia's website, and that's where I got
straight to the source.
Website, yeah. Just straight there, and I was like, boom, that's the one that I want. Dude, everybody laughs at the fanny pack at first, but then they're kind of like, you know what?
It's coming back.
Dude, I'm kind of digging the fanny pack. Like, even my coach went with me to China, and, we get out at the airport, and I, like, boom, wrap that thing around me, and I, like, put it on, and he just starts laughing. He was like, oh, geez, here we go. And then by the end of the trip, he was like, yeah, I think I need to get a fanny pack before we take our next trip.
You guys walk around in sweatpants a lot. You get your keys in there. It just feels like it's just weighing you down. It sucks. Like, I feel that struggle when I go to events and have to, have all these little gadgets with me, and I feel that. So I'm thinking about it. Dude, man.
How many times do you reach in your pocket or your back pocket? I don't have to do any of that. I just
zoop
right there. Zip. Boom.
It would be even better if it was Velcro.
Yeah. Oh man, if it had Velcro, that would be a game changer.
Straight Napoleon Dynamite style, man. Straight moon boots and all. So moving on, because it's Memorial Day, so we got to enjoy the day. But before I let you go, man, Mike Perry, he's saying that he got a DNA test, and I've been trying to do a DNA test. I know I'm Italian, but like I would love to figure it. Well, Mike Perry found out that he's 2% African.
Right.
And he's been throwing around the N-word, just in case people aren't aware and you're tuning in to get your weekly MMA update. Yeah, that's going on. TQ, what's your thoughts on this? Where do you stand?
All right. So being someone that as a kid when I was growing up, I had people, drop the N-bomb, and I got into a fight over it, a couple times. Well, one time specifically. The other times it got broken up. But anyways, nowadays I think there's two very big things that go into it whenever somebody says it. One is it ending in an A or an ER?
Of course, yeah.
Right? And I think that's two different things. One of them is used like you're talking to your friends all the time, like, yo, what's up, bro? And then the other one is known to be extremely derogatory. And nobody says the full thing unless they're trying to get under your skin or they're trying to say it, in a
in your face. Yeah.
Yeah. because you really have to like accentuate that ER at the end for people to hear it and know that it's there. And then the other thing is the context. Like, what's the context that they're saying it in? And if they're not saying it in some type of a derogatory context, so what, man? Who cares? You know, the word you can't have people using a word so openly and freely and then get mad when somebody else uses it. Like what's the difference? And people are like, oh, well, you know, he's white. So what? It really doesn't matter. If we're pushing for all this equality and everything like that, like, don't segregate yourself more and then push for equality. Don't, you know, put these defining lines as to what you can and can't do and what he can and can't do, and then push for, you know, equality and everybody to be the same. Like, I get that everybody's not the same. I get there's always going to be racism, but don't push for equality and then segregate yourself.
You know what, people, Joe Giannotti from this season of Ultimate Fighter pointed out Logic. You guys know Logic with that 1-800 song. He's actually part African American, and he was going through that same struggle his whole life. And he's written a lot of great songs kind of talking about that, how he feels about that, and people on that subject. And like, for me, man, I grew up in the city. I was one of the only white kids in my neighborhood. And like, and it's almost 2020. Like, when I was growing up, like, none of that was like real amongst my group of friends. There was like no racial tension amongst us or anything like that. Like, if anything, we would like joke around because of stuff we've seen on TV or whatever. But, you know, I like, especially in this area, like, it's a huge melting pot. Like, I it's different for me, I guess, because I don't, like, I understand all of it, but like at the same time, I don't understand why. Like, it's an old way of thinking to be racist to me. I just don't like, I feel like it's dying out. Racism is dying out. That's how I feel. And I hope I hope some people agree.
You're right. No, it is dying out, but it is still prevalent. It is something that is still there.
Like, listen, my little brother's gay, and he's getting married soon. Like, that's a huge step forward for. It's not like related to that, but like at the same time, for equality, it is. You know what I mean? Like, our generation is
20 years ago, he wouldn't have been getting married.
Exactly.
20 years ago or 30 years ago, nobody would have known he was gay because he would have been trying to hide it just because of all the negative stigma that comes with it. And so, I mean, it's different, but it is kind of the same.
We're seeing girls erupt in sports now too, like from every field of people fighting for some sort of right, and whether it's big or small, it's good seeing little successes moving forward with some of them. You know what I mean?
No, it is. It really is.
So do you think Mike Perry represents that, like pushing forward with that equality? Does he tie into that knot of he's cheesing from cheek to cheek, or is he using it as, you know, like he's fucking with people? How do you view that?
Actually, I think a little bit of both. I definitely think he's fucking with people, especially after the first time everybody, you know, he said it and then everybody like exploded. They're like, you can't say that. And then you've seen him drop it 100 more times. Like, and he did that. He did a live Instagram with.
I got that right here. Let me give it to everybody really quick, just so they know what was said. Where the fuck is it? I just had it posted. Maybe. Oh, here it is. Here it is, guys. All right.
What's good, man? Hey, did I explain to the people? Some people might not.
Oh shit.
Like, you can like drop the L-bombs. That's enlightening people right there. You know what I'm saying? I think first of all, it just comes with, you know, you ain't gonna do shit to me when I say it because I'm speaking from the
heart. Murphy laugh.
It's fucking with people.
I'm speaking from the heart. So first off, what you gonna do to me if I say it anyway? That's number one. That's not what the people want to hear. Let's get to the DNA testing. And what came up when you got the results back? I mean, I had 2% African. They could be South African. Was they ever growing up in the streets of Flint? You know what I'm saying? And the popular Florida, all my homies said it. I say it. It's just it's a word that's in my vocab, my nigga. How you doing, brother?
So that's what you were referring to there, guys, is live with T Wood.
Yeah, and so I think that part of it is him, you know, fucking with people. Part of it's a little bit of just ignorance on his part. But then I also think part of it is, you know, like you said, he's just from an area where blacks and whites everybody
Mingle.
says,
It's a melting pot.
and it's like I said, it's like saying "What's up, bro?"
Yeah.
Like it's just another word. So it's not that he was meaning it in any type of way, but I think that shows, again, like you said, those little steps. Like that shows if he's in an area where everybody's saying it and nobody thinks of it in any type of a negative way, that shows some progression.
And you know what, man? Go on, TQ.
No, I was just saying, in my opinion, it shows progression.
And this is why I love mixed martial arts, because it's a worldwide sport. We're learning so much about all different cultures and realizing everybody's the fucking same. Everybody wants to be loved. Everyone wants to feel loved. Everybody wants to be entertained. Nobody wants to feel hate or discrimination. And I think MMA is a big platform for people to see different cultures and kind of relate, like, oh, that guy's just like me. Like, that's one thing I really enjoy about mixed martial arts.
Dude, you walk into any of those gyms down
Yeah.
in South Florida, and you're looking at I would say at a minimum
The things that you can learn from people too. Like people need to.
It's the things that you can learn, but you're looking at a minimum of 5 to 10 different countries on the mat training together, and everybody's from all over the place.
It's awesome.
But yeah, that is one of the good parts about MMA. Just that cultural melting pot.
Before we let you go, man, I just want to thank you so much for coming on. When is your next fight? Because you just had this fight in China. First off, did you bring that banner home, that sick banner that me and you were talking about? That was outside the place. Where do you got that hanging up?
I definitely took that. Me and my coach, we immediately jumped up, started going down. We were like, yeah, that's coming back with us. That was pretty cool. But yeah, we're looking for my next fight. I'm waiting to hear back from 2 people, 2 different promotions. And as soon as I hear back, you'll be the first one to know. And I'll give you the scoop beforehand. But yeah, I'm waiting to hear back about 2 different things. One of them in July. And I mean, you keep up with most of the things, but there's an event going on in Rome in July. And then there's another event going on in St. Petersburg in August. So,
what was it like going over there to China, though? That had to have been crazy, man.
Oh man, it was a good time. The Chinese people were super respectful. They were really nice. So it was M1 Global and WKG, and WKG, took over the Chinese aspect as far as the hospitality and the arrangements for everything that we did and everything like that. And that part, it was the most unorganized event that I've ever been to.
In what way?
Just on everything. Oh my God. I went down to do my media day stuff, and this one of the girls that was there, she was like, all right, you're going to get in this bus and you're going to go over here. And I get over to this gym, and they're like, yeah, you're not supposed to be with us. You're with the other team. And I'm like, all right, well, give me a ride over there. And they're like, no, we'll take you back over there at 5 o'clock. And this is 9 o'clock in the morning.
There's no Uber over there or something like that? Taxi?
No, there's nothing. And we were an hour away from the hotel. And I was like, I'm not waiting until 5 o'clock. I mean, I worked it out.
That's frustrating, man.
Yeah.
When you got to fight?
I got everything worked out. But
were you going through weight cutting during that? It must have been 10 times more annoying.
Yeah, this is the day before.
Fuck that, man. Fuck that. Jeez, dude, how'd you get through that?
Just a lot of laughing with there was another American that was there, this guy, Daniel Swain. And actually, he would be a good one for you to get on. And
look it up, man. Free every day, all week for you guys.
But yeah, just me and him and our coaches just laughing at the ridiculousness of it. And the Chinese, nothing against them, super nice, but just completely unorganized. But everything was unorganized, but they went over the top.
It's like Here Comes the Boom 2 in China. The movie Here Comes the Boom, Here Comes the Boom 2, China.
Yeah. But the sauna that we went to was the nicest sauna that I've ever been in my entire life.
That's good. Sanitary. That's the big thing over there I would worry about is being sanitary, right?
Yeah. No. It was nice. It was huge. It had tons of hot tubs and all this stuff. You got to get Daniel on here and have him talk about what happened to his coach at the sauna. His coach got scrubbed down from head to toe by a toothbrush from another guy.
What? How did that unravel? How do you wind up in that? This is a movie plot, right? This is
Yeah,
you're
no,
comfortable too.
we're at this sauna and they've got a thing that says massage, and so the guy goes to see like how much massages cost, and like apparently this like
Just
Chinese
sitting
guy
there
like tells him to lay down and like takes a toothbrush and like lifts his junk up and like starts scrubbing.
oh,
Oh,
the gooch
yeah,
and everything, just get all the
dude.
schmegma.
Yeah, but when
Oh,
Daniel tells the story, holy shit, you're gonna be dying laughing. It is funny.
damn.
But yeah, the Chinese were super hospitable, just really unorganized. M1 was first class, like they always are. You know, they put on a very first class promotion. The
This is
production.
why my MMA news needs to fly me out to cover these events and follow you guys. That's where good content would be, right? Right there.
You would have stories for days if
Yeah.
if they had flown you out there.
Let's tweet
It
my
would've been-
MMA news, guys. Tell them we want Evil Eddie. Get up on it.
I'm gonna do that as soon as we get off here. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, it was a good time. Tons of stories. M1 Global, super professional. Would
And your
love to go
fight
back.
went to a decision, man. You put on one hell of a fight, super bloody. You got some good photos out of it, some good highlights too.
Yeah, it again. You know, I kind of if you went under the new MMA rules, like I feel like that third round was mine. There weren't a lot of punches thrown or kicks thrown on either one of our parts until the end when I was able to get in and get the takedown and work for the finish. Like I said, in my head, I had myself winning the first and the third rounds. But you're in China fighting a Chinese guy. You really can't. You can't leave
That's
it
a
to
shame, man. And that ties back to the judging conversation that we had, which is big. And I really want to know what you guys think about what TQ had to say about it. I think that's a genius idea, man. Because like you said, it's so important when you're a pro. Every fight counts. It's not the MLB. It's not the NFL. You don't get superpowers the next year or anything crazy like that. It is what it is after the fight's all said and done with. So TQ, with that being said, man, I'm looking forward to what's coming next with you, and especially to see Shorty Torres fighting this weekend. I'm sure me and you will be tweeting back and forth. So guys, make sure to follow TQ at Apex 170 on Twitter and Instagram. Where's your Facebook? Because UFC got me banned.
So my Facebook, just type in Robert Turnquest and it'll pop up. I've got a fan page and a friend page, or just a regular page. I use the regular page more than the fan page. But you know, I'll accept anybody. Say what's up, hit me up, questions, comments. You know, if you just want to send me hate mail, I read that
Take
too.
that
you know,
too.
whatever it is, you know. But yeah, that's it. Robert Turnquest, Facebook.
It's part of the game. It's part of the game. Opinions. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. TQ, thank you so much, man. This was a great podcast that you did with me. Once again, I think this tallies like the sixth time that you've come on the show, and we got to make this trip happen, man. I would love to come down to Florida. So, guys, make sure you tweet at my MMA News. Let them know what it is. TQ, thank you so much, man. Have a great day. Enjoy Memorial Day, and
Thank you too.
best of skill.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
So there you go, guys. TQ check in. Let me pull my camera back in for you guys here. I gotta let my dog out really quick. But let me update you guys on the UFC Pickem ranking, because I know that you guys have been dying to see the rankings. Who's in first? Who's in second? So last time we had this on. Well, first let me fix this. Let me just do this really quick for you guys. Hang in there. Hang in there with me. Pull this down, boom, boom, boom. Move to bottom. This is why I need somebody like a young Jamie. But no need. All right, so last time I checked in with you guys for the UFC Pick'em giveaway contest for Pure Evil MMA on UFC.com Fantasy League, just in case we got new listeners here, guys. These were the standings, all right? We had Iceman in first place, Ship Pirate in second, third BLT, fourth was Minion, fifth was True Q, sixth Andreas, seventh Chillzone Ann, eighth Sammy Salem X 1976, in ninth the Predator. It's hard to read this backwards. And then in 10th, we had Pat PMC _ MMA. So we are going to update this. So let's get this going. We'll update the top 5 right now, and then I'll tweet out the top 10. So let me just announce it first. Then I'll write it on there. So if you're new to listening to the show, guys, you can hop on. Because, first off, whoever wins the fight night, or the picks, whoever gets the most picks right, I will mail them out personally a prize. And I'm going to get wristbands. You can get a photo. Every time you win, you'll get something different. So let me pull up our fantasy league. Let's see who is in first place. I don't even need to go all the way that far. I think I took a screenshot of it, as a matter of fact, so I don't even need to log in. Man, going this week, that was a lot of fun. UFC Liverpool, guys. If we have to rate it, because we rate it on every recap, I'd give it a good 7 out of 10. I think it falls right into 7. If there were more finishes, there weren't many finishes, and I think that was the big issue there. All right, so let's see what we got here. So per event for UFC Liverpool, in first place we have LFEIZGUD, which is actually Misty B on Twitter. So congratulations, girl. 2,815 points. In second place, Jim with Wicked Ways 1972 with right behind her 2,320. Man, Misty blowing through everyone. In third place, K34 No 16 with 2,190 points. In fourth, our very own Minion McGrunion with 2,095 points. In fifth, Chillzone 95 Ann with 1,915 points. In sixth, Iceman. And Iceman usually comes in first on every rank, but man, usually falls at least within the top 10. So guys, make sure you follow him. Last year in 2017, Iceman, he was in our league, but he ranked worldwide in the top 10, I believe. He was in the top 10 of worldwide rankings for fantasy, and he's competing right here with people at Pure Evil MMA. So when you come in first and you're competing with these kind of people, man, it's a lot of fun to come in first and get a little prize mailed to you by your very own Evil Eddie. Below him, me, I came in 7th, tied with Andreas MMA. So let's check our overall rankings now. Let me let Oscar out really quick. All right, bud, go. Go. That's the fun in doing your live podcasts. Also, I got new pet rats as well, guys, in case we got anyone who wasn't aware in the past couple of weeks. We got 2 new rats and named one Puff and one Bella. All right, let's see. UFC Pickem. So our next event is going to be going down June 1st, like I said, and I just spoke with Jimmy Rivera yesterday during UFC Liverpool. I went live right here on YouTube for you guys, and me and Jimmy had a 10-minute conversation. You know, he's going through weight cutting, and he gave us a little update on how he's doing, what to expect in this fight, and, you know, the huge. He gave us the huge rundown. And I'm really hoping that he wins, man, because he was originally supposed to fight Dominic Cruz. That would have been huge. That would have been the perfect stepping stone to be like, man, I am next with that title. I mean, beating somebody like Uriah Faber. Jimmy is on a 20-fight win streak, guys. 20. You know how hard that is to do in MMA, let alone the UFC in the top of the top? Do you guys not remember Jimmy Rivera, what he did to Thomas Almeida last year? That was one of the best fights of 2017, and it went forgotten. I haven't seen anybody bring that fight back up, and that was, you'll be seeing that highlight again this week if you haven't seen that fight. And man, Jimmy put on, man. Jimmy really did put on. Our overall rankings. All right, so Iceman is in first still. So congratulations, Iceman. I shouldn't have even erased your name off the board. In second, Minion. And shout out to Minion as well. Day one from the podcast, or been with us for a long time. Always a go-to guy for any MMA news. Like recently, I couldn't find the bonuses for UFC Liverpool. Immediately, I tagged Minion and a couple other head guys out there. But Minion was right in the top 3 of people I would reach out to for definite information. He's 99.9% of the time on point with making sure that the facts are straight. And even if I misspell something, he'll message me. And I really appreciate that because in journalism, in this scene especially, it just looks funny. And I'm so guilty of sitting on my phone and just going sick, writing something out real quick because I get excited. In 1 second. Open the door. Open the door. Okay. Oh, have a good day at work. Close the door. I'm live right now. Like they say on what is that movie? Grandma's Boy. It's my roommates. I hope you guys get that. It's embarrassing, but my roommates. Matter of fact, big announcement. I don't want to say it too loud, but June 1st, I am moving. We're going to have a new studio. We are going to have 2 sets, as a matter of fact. So we're going to be having the Pure Evil MMA set, and I'm starting a new podcast. I'm starting a new podcast with Ultimate Fighter Season 10's James McSweeney, who was the first pick on that season Ultimate Fighter Season 10. Rashad Evans versus Rampage Jackson. And those two are actually doing a movie together, and I can't wait to see those two back together. That's going to be cool. You don't even need a script. Just send them out there. I would love something like Anchorman style. Those two, just watching them on camera is just hilarious. But James McSweeney from that season of Ultimate Fighter. You also had Roy Nelson on there. You had Brendan Schaub on there, real close with Brendan Schaub. Kimbo Slice was on that season. Justin Wren was on that season. Matt Mitrione was picked on an awful lot on that season. I'm going to be doing a podcast with him, so check that out, guys. Pure Evil MMA. Well, here's the thing. I opened up a new YouTube channel as well. So the show with James is going to be on a separate YouTube channel. I'll share that for you guys on my Twitter page. But every episode is going to be right there. You're not going to get mixed up with any interviews from here on Pure Evil MMA. It's not going to get lost in the shuffle, if anyone was worried about that. That show will strictly have its own page, and we don't even have a name for it yet. We're looking for a name for the show. So if you guys have any ideas, let me know, because we're going to be announcing it in episode 2, what the name is going to be. And it's going to stick. That's that. That's the most important part of a show, is the show title. So let's put some thought into it. But yeah, we're going to have 2 new sets. We're going to have a whole new scene, a whole new setup, and I cannot wait. Really quick, in third, under Minion, Chill Zone, 95. These are the overall ranks for our Pickem League. That's great, man. Chill Zone 95 in third for the overall. In fourth, Ship Pirate 12. In fifth, True Q Mental. In sixth, The Perpetrator. In seventh, Salem 1976. In eighth, BLT. Ninth, Jay Cruzel. And in 10th, Barry 413, cracking the top 10. So, guys, there you go. There's our Pure Evil MMA top 10 fantasy league for UFC Pick'em. And I have a blast doing this every week. I thank everybody that's a part of this. I'll be updating the Pick'em board. I'll take the picture and I'll send it. We got to fix this. So, here on this side, so far, I need to send Iceman 3 prizes. I'll get to that this week. Wicked World 1. I believe I sent you one, Jim. Let me know if you got that. MMA Pick. I believe I sent MMA Pick 1. I have to double check that. I'll double check that right now, matter of fact. And now we have a new one. Misty B. You're going to be getting something in the mail. And she already actually sent me her address. She was actually very excited to come in first place. And she was very excited to be Iceman now. Matter of fact, sorry to tell you that, Iceman. But, man, we have a blast. That's what it's all about. That's what life's all about, is enjoying yourself. And, yesterday the fights were in the morning, but at the same time, it was cool because it almost set itself up perfectly for family events, which I was at. I went to my brother's house, sat in the basement, and it was cool hearing other people's opinions that don't necessarily watch MMA. They might be baseball fans. They might not watch sports at all. It was very cool hearing what they had to say. Like, I wasn't saying much to, guide their thoughts. When they were like, that judging is rigged, that was 100% them. There was nothing with me behind that. Yeah, it just clarified so much that I needed to hear from people that haven't seen the sport. It just meant that much more to just kind of get a picture from the outside, step outside the box and see what, somebody that's just flicking through the channel stumbles on something, gets their interest for a hot second, their 15-minute, I'll give this a shot. You know what I mean? And that's what a lot of it comes down to. They say, and it's the truth, first impression is a lasting impression. And for those people who saw that and saw the judging like that, it's a turnoff, man. So, man, what did you guys think about UFC Liverpool? Let me know on Twitter and on Instagram at Pure Evil MMA, Twitter at Evil_Echo. That's EVIL_ECCO. Guys, we have a great week of interviews set up this week. Tatiana Torres is going to be joining me tomorrow. I cannot wait to talk with her. She's been super busy. She's coming off this win, and she is dominating girls inside that division. So is she going to be the next champion? We're going to talk with her. If you have any questions, let me know on Twitter or Instagram, guys. White knuckles to the end. Behave yourselves. I'll edit that to look good, by the way.